in New Orleans offers tours of the facility on a regular basis. For more information, call 486-5511. The following program is made possible by a grant from Pan American Life Insurance Company. It's Varsity Quiz Bowl, and today, Jack Burley, Robert Coleman, Andre Thibodeau, and Edward Askew from Morgan City High School will meet in a battle of quick recall. Chris Strickler, Michael Brown, Barry Canton, and Scott Zander from St. Martin's Protestant Episcopal School. The alternate from Morgan City, Laurent Brown, and the coach, Beryl Gidry. The alternate from St. Martin's, Hans Jonason, and the coach, Wita Muller. Our score today for Varsity Quiz Bowl is Phyllis Hartley, Associate Director of Records at the University of New Orleans, and our judge, Peggy Scott Laborde. And now, here's our moderator, Mel Levitt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to Varsity Quiz Bowl. This is the final game of our second round of tournament competition. The winner today, of course, advances to the round of 16. And, of course, at the end of the rainbow is a championship game of 1 hour. One of these teams could be it. They did well, very well in the first round of play. Okay, we're ready to go, and here's a face-off, teams. Ready? We're leading up to a lagniappe of 30 points. The expression limey, meaning an Englishman, arose because of the practice aboard British ships of making the sailors drink lime juice in order to prevent a certain...
Askew, Morgan City. Scurvy.
That's right, to prevent scurvy. Morgan City's on the board with 10 points. And a chance at 30 more if you can answer all three parts of this lagniappe. If you were to hear the names Vivian Lee, Clark Gable, Leslie Howard, and Olivia de Havilland, you'd recognize them, I think, as the cast or part of the cast of Gone with the Wind, right? Okay, for 10 points each, identify the films whose casts include the following members. And I'm going to give you 4 members of the cast from 3 major films. First film, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Robert Shaw, and Harold Gould. The film was?
The Sting.
Ask for an answer?
The Sting.
The Sting is correct. Film number 2, Diana Ross, Billy D. Williams, and Richard Pryor. Only 3 major.
The Wiz.
No, this was Lady Sings the Blues. Lady Sings the Blues. And finally, Vivian Lee, Marlon Brando, Carl Malden, and Kim Hunter.
On the Waterfront. On the Waterfront.
No, even back before that. A Streetcar Named Desire was that motion picture, but you got one of them, and that's 10 points for Morgan City. You're off to a 20-0 lead. And here we go with a face-off. We're leading up to a lagniappe of 20 teams. Lactic acid can be formed in milk, and citric acid is found commonly in fruits. For 10 points, what is the name of the main acid component of vinegar?
Askew, Morgan City. Acetic.
Acetic's correct for 10. Your lagniappe is 20 points in 4 parts. Seward's Folly was Alaska. For 5 points each, identify the following follies. Fulton's Folly was what?
The steamboat.
Correct. Drake's Folly.
Colonization of North America.
Ask for an answer. It was the oil well, the first oil well, Colonel Drake. Erickson's Folly.
Greenland.
No, this was the Monitor, the first ironclad. And finally, Clinton's Folly.
Steam Age.
Clinton's Folly was the Erie Canal. You've picked up 5 more points, however, with one of the 3 or 4, Morgan City. Another face-off coming up, leading to a lagniappe at 20. Edith Bowling Galt at one time was known as Mrs. President. She was married to a president of the United States who became so ill that it was claimed he could not run the affairs of the country. It was rumored his wife made all the presidential decisions during his illness.
Coleman, Morgan City. Woodrow Wilson.
That's right. The wife of Woodrow Wilson. Your lagniappe, 20 points. And this requires 2 answers. In 1863, the 2 great battles marked the turning point of the Civil War for the North. Both of these northern victories helped to turn the tide of the war. One of the battles was fought in the north in Pennsylvania, and the other in the south in Mississippi. For 10 points each, name the 2 great battles.
Gettysburg and Vicksburg.
You got them both. We have another face-off. We're going for a lagniappe of 30 points, teams. There is always a movement, it seems, to abolish the Electoral College. For 10 points, when the college last met. How many votes were cast?
Coleman, Morgan City. 530.
No, Fred, that's incorrect. St. Martin's, can you take it?
Xander, St. Martin's.
537.
Ooh, missed by one. 538. Oh, that was tough. All right, we got another face-off. Going for a lanyap of 30 points for 10 points. In what country are the highest waterfall in the world located?
Xander, St.
What is
Martin's.
it?
Venezuela.
That is correct. It's Angel Falls, Venezuela. You picked up 10 and a chance at 30 more. And this, of course, could then narrow that gap considerably. A chimera is an illusion or a fantasy of the mind. It's also a mythological creature composed of parts of 3 other animals. For 10 points each, name the 3 creatures which compose a classic chimera. C-H-I-M-E-R-A. You may have seen pictures of this mythological animal, a strange beast indeed. All right, we'll ask for an answer, please.
Bird, horse, and lion.
I'm sorry, would you repeat?
Bird, horse, and lion.
The lion is correct. The other 2 parts, the lion is the head of a lion, the goat for the body, and a serpent for the tail. 10 points for St. Martin's. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyap of 20. Ellesmere is one of the 10 largest islands in the world. It is located in the Western Hemisphere. For 10 points, to what country does
Canada,
Ellesmere...
St. Martin's.
Canada.
Canada is correct for 10 points. And St. Martin come bouncing right back. They trail now by 35. A chance to pick up 20 on this lanyap if you can answer all 4 parts. George Washington sometimes is referred to as the father of our country, of course. For 5 points each, identify the following famous fathers. First, the father of history in the overall.
Aristotle.
No, actually, it's Herodotus. Herodotus. The French king known as the father of the people. Get the right number now. French king was Louis XII. The father of music. Father of music.
Beethoven.
No, preceding even him, Palestrina. Palestrina. The river known as Father of Waters.
Mississippi.
Mississippi is for sure. All right, picked up 5 more. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyap of 20. The newest hope for cancer patients, I'm told, is a naturally produced substance which is generally known by the initials...
Coleman, Morgan City. Interferon.
That is correct. We're going to ask you... Interferon. I was about to say, known by the initials IF, what is it? What is its real name? Interferon. All right, here's your lanyap at 20 points. Calls for one answer. 420, name the Aldous Huxley novel in which you'd find a gray 34-story building that houses the Central London Hatchery and Conditioning Center.
Brave New World.
That's exactly right. 20 points. And there's the buzzer. Okay, that means that we're about to embark on a rapid fire round. As you know, in rapid fire, I ask the questions as quickly as they're answered. If you answer correctly, it's 10 points, and incorrect answers are -5. There are no second answers or no referrals. You must answer once only, and we proceed until the end of the round, a 2-minute countdown. Our rapid fire today is about people, places, and things, all of which begin with the letter F. F is the magic letter. Ready? Here we go. First, the rock group, whose albums include Tusk and Rumors.
Brown, St. Martin.
Fleetwood Mac.
That's correct. One of the ridges fixed across the fingerboard of a guitar.
Askew, Morgan City.
Fret.
Correct. Mary Shelley's most famous work.
Canton, St. Martin.
Frankenstein.
Right you are. A pit dug quickly for individual cover from enemy fire.
Thibodeau, St. Martin.
Foxhole.
That's right.
Morgan City.
Ayn Rand's novel dealing with the world of architects was called...
Coleman, Morgan City. Fountainhead.
That's right. A type of fuel, such as coal and oil, ultimately derived from what was once a living...
Xander, St. Martin's.
Fossil fuel.
Fossil is correct. Another name for the index finger.
Xander, St. Martin's.
First finger.
No, forefinger. The district in Washington where the State Department building is located is called Foggy Bottom. Foggy Bottom. The principal instrument played by Herbie Mann.
Canton, St. Martin's.
The flute.
It is a flute. A hand of playing cards, all the same suit.
Canton, St. Martin's.
Flush.
Flush is right. One of the last 2 pairs of ribs which are not attached to the sternum.
Askew, Morgan City.
Free floating ribs.
That's correct. A conventionalized iris used in art and in heraldry.
Brown, St. Martin.
Fleur-de-lis.
Correct. A common name for the members of the phylum Platyhelminthes is?
Coleman, Morgan City.
Fish.
No, flatworm. A device that expels a burning stream of liquid from a nozzle over a great distance.
Thibodeau, Morgan City.
Flamethrower.
Correct. Shells from anti-aircraft guns are?
Brown, St. Martin.
Flak.
Flak is right. June 14th.
Early, Morgan City.
4th of July.
No, Flag Day. The splitting of an atomic nucleus which results in the...
Morgan City.
Fission.
Fission is correct. A regular and not a substitute on an athletic team. As a member of the...
Xander, St. Martin.
First string.
Correct. And there is the buzzer. Okay, we've got a good game. It's applause for you guys. Very fine first round. It's extremely close, only 145 to 110. We'll be back in just a moment to resume play and, of course, to talk to the team members, so stay tuned.
Throughout North America, archaeologists are on an extraordinary manhunt. Who first inhabited the New World and when? Ingenious hunters who stalked Ice Age animals with stone-tipped spears 11,000 years ago? Or was it an earlier people who came from Asia 30,000 years before that? Seeking the First Americans on Odyssey.
See you tonight at 8.
We'll resume play in just a moment. A very close game. Right now, we're going to talk to the team members about their future academic plans and aspirations. We're going to start with Jack Merling.
I plan to go into pre-law at LSU.
Very good. Well, good luck to you, Jack. How about you, Robert? You're the captain here.
I plan to go to a college, probably in Louisiana. I've narrowed it down to 3. I want to study political science and government and one day work with people.
That's interesting. You sound like a man with his eye on the ball, I'll tell you that. Andre, what do you think?
I plan to be a sophomore.
Refresh your memory. He is a freshman, right? One of the few freshmen, by the way, that have played on this show. Good. Keep your goals within reach. Edward, how about you?
Attend LSU and study pre-medicine.
Excellent. Well, I want to wish you all a lot of luck. And again, best of Morgan City High. They had to come through a monsoon to get over here in a flood. Morgan City. St. Martin's always feels a very representative team. Chris, what do you plan to do?
I don't know what college I'm going to get. I'd like to major in history and eventually get a PhD in it.
And a PhD eventually?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Good luck. Michael?
Well, I'm going to go into medicine, but I'm not sure which college yet.
I see. Are you? Well, refresh the audience here. Who's what as to year? Junior?
Senior.
You're senior?
Yeah.
You, Chris?
Junior.
Junior? Barry?
Junior.
Junior and...
Sophomore.
Well, you got a real representative group. I think you guys are going to be back in this show for years to come. Barry, how about you?
Well, I don't know what college I'll go to, but I do plan on studying some field of science, preferably nuclear physics or geology.
Good. Scott?
I'd like to spend a couple more years at St. Martin's and then go to college somewhere, probably in the West. I have no idea where.
You plan to become a junior?
Yeah.
St. Martin's, great to have you with us. St. Martin's Protestant Episcopal School. Okay. That's priceless. All right, I think we're ready to go now. Teams look like they are. Score once again, Morgan City 145, St. Martin's 110. It is a very close game, that goes without saying. Here's our face-off to start the second half of play. We're leading up to a lagniappe of 20 points. All right, teams, for 10 points, what is the name of the astronomy professor and mathematician who designed the famous St. Paul's Cathedral in London?
Strickler, St. Martin.
Christopher Wren.
That's absolutely correct. So Christopher Wren. Put 10 more on the board, you trail by 25, and here's a lagniappe of 20 coming up. Now, this is going to be an audio question, so I'll ask the question in just a moment. The specific question. Right now, I'd like you to listen to this musical selection. Listen. Music music you've just heard is from Anton Dvorak's Symphony No. 5 in E minor, Opus 95. It is known by a more common name. For 20 points, what is the name?
The New World Symphony?
That's correct. It's the New World Symphony. As originally stated, Symphony from the New World. You picked up 20 more points, closed the gap to 5. It's Morgan City 145, St. Martin's 140. Here's a face-off. We're going for a lanyap at 20. William Jennings Bryan ran for the presidency 3 times. The third time he ran on the straight Democratic ticket. On his first 2 tries, however, he ran on the People's Democratic ticket. For 10 points, by what more popular name?
Ask you, Morgan City.
The Populist.
That's right. He was the original populist candidate. All right, you picked up 10 for Morgan City, and here's a lanyap of 20 in 2 parts. After serving as President of the United States, William Howard Taft became the Chief Justice of the United States. For 10 points, what early president served in the House of Representatives after he failed to be reelected to the presidency?
John Adams.
Right, for 10 points. All right, for 10 more. For an additional 10, what 19th century president later returned to Washington as a senator after he'd served as president? 19th century president. All right.
Cleveland.
No, this was Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson. You picked up 10 more points, Morgan City, and you lead 165-140. Here's another face-off. We're going for a lanyap at 25 teams. It's a quickie for a quick 10. By what more common name is August 14th, 1945 better known?
Coleman, Morgan City.
Victory in Japan Day.
That's right. RVJ Day. Sometimes shortened to VJ Day, but it was the victory over the Japanese. 25 points a lanyap for 5 points each. Tell me which of the following pairs of occupations has the greater number of people working. I'm going to give you 5 pairs. You tell me which has the greater number of people employed. First, airline pilots are bartenders.
Bartenders.
Correct. Psychologists are dentists.
Dentists.
Correct again. Accountants are typists.
Typists.
Right. Electricians are plumbers.
Plumbers.
All right.
Plumbers.
No, electricians. And finally, bank tellers are postal clerks. Which one?
Postal clerks.
No, in this case, it's bank tellers. But you picked up 3 of the 5, 15 more points. Morgan City high. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyap at 20 teams. For 10 points, what is the name of the South American river which empties more water into the ocean than any other?
St. Martin's.
Amazon.
It is indeed the Amazon. And it empties, it's a staggering number, 7 million cubic feet of water a second into the ocean. Your lanyap is for 20 points, and you can narrow this gap quite a bit. If you answer all 4 parts, we all know, of course, that Captain Nemo was on the Nautilus, and Captain Queeg commanded the Cane. For 5 points each, name these fictional captains, some of which were nautical and others weren't. First, the captain of the pirate ship, the Jolly Roger.
Captain Hook. Captain Hook.
That's right. The hero whose secret identity has been both Steve Rogers and Grant Gardner.
Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
No, this was Captain America. The captain of the Hispaniola in Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island.
Captain Larson.
His name?
Captain Smollett. Captain Smollett.
That's correct. And finally, the superhero whose secret identity is Billy Batson.
Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
That is Captain Marvel, by gosh. 3 of the 4, 15 points. Okay, you've drawn up on him again. It's 190-165. St. Martin's trailing by only 25. A face-off going for a lanyap of 30. This is very short. For 10 points, what are the initials CORE, the name of a civil rights organization?
Coleman, Morgan City.
Congress on Racial Equality.
No, I'm afraid that's incorrect. St. Martin's, can you take it? They represent Congress of Racial Equality. I'm sorry to fault you on the 1, but that's it. All right, down. Another face-off going for a lanyap of 30 points. The President of the United States makes $200,000 a year. For 10 points, how much does the Vice President...
Coleman, Morgan City.
100,000?
No, afraid that's incorrect. We'll repeat for St. Martin's since we did not complete the sentence. The President of the United States makes $200,000 a year. For 10 points, how much does the Vice President of the United States make? Anybody? 75,000. 75. Another face-off. We're going for a lanyap of 30 teams. When the mutiny on the Bounty occurred, Captain Bligh was after a certain plant that was to be used as food for slaves.
Canton, St. Martin's.
Breadfruit trees?
That's right, it was. Breadfruit trees. Picked up 10. Closed the gap to 10 points. It's Morgan City 185, St. Martin's 175. Here's a 30-point lanyap. Now, we'll give you a certain amount of time on the clock to consult and come up with one list on this. The question is this. One of the most popular duos in film history was Astaire and Rogers. They made a total of 10 pictures together, 9 of which were made in a 6-year period. You can earn 5 points for each of their pictures you can name up to a total of 6. Now, that's 6 out of a total of 10 Astaire Rogers pictures. Okay. It's a real poser if you're a movie buff. You got an advantage. If not, it can be tough. All right, we're going to ask for time, please. If you...
Top Hat, Valley High.
What was the first one?
Top Hat.
Top Hat is correct. Valley High, I'm afraid not a little later. Of course, this was way before any of you guys were born. You pick up 5 points. The other movies, incidentally, for your information, Flying Down to Rio, The Gay Divorcee, Roberta, Follow the Fleet, Swing Time, Shall We Dance, Carefree, The Story of Vernon and Irene Castle, and The Barcalisa Broadway. So much for that. 5 points. All right, it's 180 to 185 with Morgan City leading by 5. Here's a face-off, teams. We're going for 20 points of lanyap. For 10 points, what woodsman of legend is said to have been responsible for digging out the Grand Canyon?
Ask you, Morgan City.
Paul Bunyan.
That was the man, Paul Bunyan. Legendary giant of the North. Your lanyap at 20 points calls for 2 answers. The date is November of 1871. The place is Ujiji, Tanganyika. For 10 points each, name the 2 people who made history by meeting there.
Stanley and Livingston.
That's right. You presumed correctly. You got 20 more points. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyap of 30. If you mix ginger ale with a dash of grenadine and put a cherry in it, you'd have a drink enjoyed by a number of small children. For 10 points, what's the name of this drink?
Ask you, Morgan City.
Roy Rogers?
No. And we'll turn it over
Brown,
to
St. Martin.
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple is what it is. Roy Rogers is a little stronger. I think it's 2 grenadines. But anyhow, we have a lanyap of 30. That was a tough. Here we go. 30 points a lanyap. Although most of us just have a first name, possibly a middle name, and a last name, some people have 3 names in addition to their last name. You can earn 10 points for each of the following famous Americans you can identify from their first 3 names. Now, a clue here. In many cases, these have been put together acronymically with the 3 initials forming another name. All you have to do is supply that last name. Okay. First 3 names. James Ewell Brown.
Jeb Stewart. Jeb Stewart.
That's right. Samuel Finley Breese what? Samuel Finley Breese
Johnson.
Was Samuel F.B. Morse. And finally, William Edward Burghardt. Ask for an answer?
Smith.
Now, this was W.E.B. Dubois, or Dubois. You picked up 10 more points, 10 more very important points for St. Martin's. All right, trailing only by 15 now, St. Martin's. Here's a face-off going for a lanyap of 30. For a quick 10, what's the only crime that's defined in the U.S. Constitution?
Thibodeau, Morgan City.
Treason.
Treason is right for 10 points. You have a lanyap at 30 points. For 10 points each, tell me the century in which the following scientific milestones occurred. First, Galileo studies acceleration under gravity. The Mercator projection for maps is invented, and the term electricity is first used. What century now?
17th.
That is exactly right for 10 points. Second part, adrenaline is isolated, the EKG invented, and silicones discovered. What century?
20th.
Correct again. And finally, Uranus discovered, the term orthopedics coined, and the Fahrenheit system is first announced.
19th.
Oh, no, 18th, but you got 2 of the 3. 20 points, Morgan City. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyap of 20 points. This is a quickie. New Orleans is the Crescent City. For 10 points, what is the Steel City?
Canton, St. Martin.
Pittsburgh.
That's correct for 10 points. You got it. All right, St. Martin's, here's 20-point lanyap. The states with the lowest per capita income are traditionally southern. For 5 points each, name the 4 states with the highest per capita income in the United States.
New York.
Remember, this is per capita.
California.
So size isn't necessarily going to have anything to do with it. 4 highest per capita.
Try New Jersey.
In terms of income.
New Jersey.
All right.
New Jersey, Alaska, New York, California.
Now, surprisingly enough, Alaska is one of them. Surprisingly enough, Nevada, Connecticut, and Illinois are the others. However, you picked up 5 more points. St. Martin's. All right. We're going to move along now to another face-off, and we're going for a lanyap at 20 points for 10 points. Who was the American artist most noted for his work in the form of mobiles? His use of primary...
St. Martin's.
Alexander Calder.
That's right. Alexander Calder for 10 points. Okay, you got a lanyap at 20 points coming up for 5 points each. Identify the most famous spouse of each of these men. First, Steve Allen.
Edie Gourmet.
No, that's Jane Meadows is Steve Allen's. Or was, I think. Vicente Minnelli. Vicente Minnelli.
Judy Garland.
That's correct. Roger. Oh, there's the buzzer. Well, we're going to validate the final score, and we'll be back in just a moment to declare an official winner in a game that went right down to the last seconds. Stay tuned. Wow.
It must be exhausting trying to immortalize my mother.
It is.
I'm told I'm the only mistake she ever made.
Exorbitant if she didn't.
Louisa looks
the food
back
was delicious.
this week on the Duchess of Duke Street.
Most of the guests were mad as hatters, and that Mrs. Trotter was the most remarkable woman in England.
Don't miss the final episode of the Duchess of Duke Street this week on Masterpiece Theater.
See it tonight at 9 here on Channel 12.
And here we are with the final score, and look how close it was. 245 for Morgan City, 230 with St. Martin's when the buzzer rang and they were still answering. So that's how close it could get in this game. A tremendous contest. Congratulations, Morgan City. You've advanced to the round of 16. I'll tell you, the teams of the competition seem to get better year after year, and we'll look forward to seeing, I think, at least 3 members, right, will be back next year, St. Martin's? You only have 1 graduate? Who's graduating? Me. Good luck, Mr. Brown, Captain. And, of course, Mr. Zander, Mr. Canton, Mr. Strickler. We'll see you next year in Varsity Quiz Bowl. Morgan City, you're in the round of 16 now. And, of course, your next opponent is going to be De La Salle High School, who had a powerhouse game this last time out. That should be interesting. In round 3 in May. We hope you'll rejoin us again next week. And I think we have Riverdale against Gaines and Newman versus South Lafourche coming up as we move into the round of 16. See you then. Have a good weekend.
The questions on Varsity Quiz Bowl are prepared and authenticated by the WIS editorial research staff and known only in advance to the quizmaster, producer, judge, and researcher. All 64 schools participating in our year-long tournament are matched by blind draw. Selections of team members and methods of preparation are the sole responsibility of the schools and their coaches. The preceding program was made possible in part by a grant from Pan American Life Insurance Company.